Hello, Slopers. Brian Johnson with thestockmentor.com again. I want to do a video here. This is going to be one that maybe Tim can post later on in the night. I'm actually doing this one before I do my market or end of market video for everyone. So anyway, point being, this might be a two-parter. Matter of fact, I'd like to break it up into two parts, and that gives Tim not one but two posts that he can stick up at some point during the night or morning or whenever he wants to post it. I don't care. And it's going to be on Elliot Wave. I have aptly titled this one, Is Elliot Wave a Four-Letter Word? Now, we have not had, I know, especially here, there's not been a lot of love given lately to Elliot Wave, for good reason. I certainly don't blame Tim. I don't blame anybody else either if you don't have a good taste about Elliot Wave. But I want to say something. It has its place. It has its place. However, this is how I use it. Take it or leave it. This is how I use Elliot Wave. Now, I am not a professional chartist by any means, so you guys can beat me apart on my counts. But the point is, I think you'll get the idea. I think you'll get the gist of this whole video by the time we're done. First and foremost, I think one of the most popular things about Elliot Wave is the fact that I can have a count, you can have a count, somebody else can have a count, and everybody's right. I mean, you just never know. I mean, somebody ultimately is going to be right, but nobody ever knows which count is going to be. Some make more sense than others, but ultimately we never know where it's going to turn out. And I think that's a real draw for Elliot Wave. It invites and promotes conversation, arguments sometimes, and I meet a lot of people that like to just argue. They just like to argue about anything. So Elliot Wave gives them a great opportunity to argue about things. So I think that's one of the biggest draws of Elliot Wave is the fact that it is a conversation starter. I think another reason is it's well marketed. I think Prechter, albeit he hasn't been the most consistently correct person lately, I think it's well marketed. You make a call and it's wrong, 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 you make a call and it's right, and then you tell everybody in the world, look, I totally called that. I called that. I totally called that. You know, even a squirrel finds a nut type of thing. So I think it's also well promoted. However, it does have credence. Here's how I use it, and maybe you can use it in your style as well. Because Elliot Wave is fun sometimes. It is fun. First and foremost, Elliot Wave is best and its use is strongest when you are trending. Corrections, just walk away. I'm serious, guys. Technical analysis, fundamental analysis, I use those primarily in my trading. And when Elliot Wave is correcting, I'm just like, whatever. I mean, if it's obvious to me and the count's there in front of my face, great. But otherwise, I don't bother with it. I think that might be one of the biggest problems Elliot Wave's had over the past few months and years, is the fact that this big correction since '09 has been exactly that, a correction. And corrections are extremely difficult to know. Is it this? Is it that? Is it a flat? Is it a zigzag? Is it a combination? Is it a double three? Is it a triple three? X and W, Y, and Z waves? And it's just such a nightmare to try to trade corrections. Trends, however, if you get a good strong trend, it can be very, very obvious. And that's where I believe Elliot Wave excels, and it is very useful in your trading. So I use it in this capacity, guys. It is always used as confirmation, never indication. Okay? Confirmation, never indication. It's good to have tools in your tool belt. Some people are very good with indicators. Some people use moving averages. Some people use whatever. Point is, they're all tools in your tool belt. Everything is a tool in your tool belt. All we're trying to do in the trading market is stack the odds in our favor. And that means adding tools that are useful in our trading, not just any tools, but tools that are useful in our trading to the toolbox itself. So Elliot Wave can be one of those if used as confirmation, not indication. I don't honestly believe I know a person that's only using Elliot Wave and they're consistently profitable. Most of the time, they're not doing all that well. There's obviously exceptions to every rule, but as a whole, I think that's probably the case most everywhere. It has been in the 8-10 years I've been trading anyway. All right, so anyway, let's just look at this chart. And yes, let me preface this. I totally cherry-picked this chart. This is not common. It's just here for reference. On this chart, you can clearly see 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's right here. 5 up here. Anyway, pretty clear, especially if you do this thing. Now, even within this three wave, we have a 1, we have the 2, we have the 3, the 4, the 5. That's how I would count it. And then you have your A, B, C correction, and then you get your 1, 2, 3 sideways triangle 4. It's actually an ascending triangle type 4 or triangle 4, and then your 5. So anyway, this is a very, very clean chart to count on the way up. So Elliot wave, yeah, sure, it works. Like I said, in a trending environment. However, never use it. I never use it as complete indication of something. Only confirmation. Now, what do I mean by that? I keep talking about that. Let me show you what I mean by confirmation, not indication. Let's flip over to the current SPX chart. This is where we stand right now. I'm going to go ahead and do an update and show you guys that it is 13:08:56, and we're just about 7 minutes to close here. Okay, so let's just okay, now I'm just making this up. I'm not really trying to call out a real count here in the market or anything, but let's pretend that down here we've seen a test of the 200. We've seen another test of the 200. Let's pretend this is a new wave up. Okay, whether it's a C wave or a 3 wave, I don't even really care. We're not going to talk about that. Let's pretend like this is a new 3 wave to the upside. Okay, so we have wave 1 up here, we have wave 2 down here, and G, it perfectly bounced off of the 200, which is great. Now, it is a little bit deeper than a 2 wave typically goes. I would be a little bit more spooked on this end if I saw a 2 wave go this deep, but anyway, it's outside the scope of this. Point being, guess what? If this is wave 1 and we're looking at wave 2, and wave 2 just happens to coincide with a moving average down here, well, guess what? I give it a little bit more credence. That's what I'm looking for. Do you see what I mean by confirmation and not indication? Okay, as a technical analysis guy, I'm looking at the 200-day moving average first and foremost. That's where my eyes go. And then the 20, and then the 50, on and on. Now, if Elliott wave happens to give me a target that is similar to what I'm seeing from a technical analysis standpoint, well, guess what? That only lends what? Strength, right? That lends strength to the particular possibility of a successful trade, or more importantly, a successful target on a successful trade. Okay, so we broke that 1300 area today. We saw that push up. That was my call for a long above this 1300. Now let's pretend like this is a wave 3, and then we can start doing our little Elliotition. Okay, is 3 equal to 1? Is 3 1.61%? Is 3 wave 2 times wave 1? Well, I've already kind of run the numbers. So anyway, let's say Elliott wave is looking at a 2 times. Let's just look at the target on 2 times wave 1. Wave 1 is 1258, 1298. That's 40 points. 2 times that would be 80 points. 80 points taken from 1262. So 1262 plus 80 gives you a target of 1342.87. Okay. Now, that would put it right up here around in this area. Well, guess what? From a technical analysis standpoint, 1345.20 for me is where my eyes go immediately, because this is, for me, overhead resistance. I'm already looking at this level as a strong area of overhead resistance. I've got the line drawn in. I don't here, but you understand what I'm saying. I've got my line drawn in. Now, if a 3 wave or the target of a 3 wave happens to coincide with, 1342, it's pretty close. Well, guess what? Now I've added strength to the potential for this to be a good stopping point in the markets. Whether it's a price target for you, whether it's a place you move your stops up, maybe you take half your profit up here. You can play this on one of a million different ways. Point being, if this is overhead resistance from a technical analysis standpoint, and pull the other tool out of my tool belt, Elliott wave, and it happens to be the target on a wave to the upside, well, guess what? Of course, I'm going to give it a little bit more credence. So that is how I use Elliott wave. It is confirmation, not indication for me. I don't look at this and go, wow, a 3 wave starting. No. I look at it and I say, wow, we had a break of 1300, which was an overhead target for me to go long. Now, where's my next option? Well, I'm going to tell you. For me, obviously, the 50-day moving average is where my eyes go. Above that, potentially that 1340 to 1345 area. Well, guess what? Not only do I have that 1345 area as a technical analysis overhead resistance area, I now have the Elliott wave potential of a 1342 target. If this happens to be a wave 3, I don't know, I'm not saying it is, but if this happens to be a wave 3, 2 times wave 1 puts me at 1342 and well within the striking zone of 1345. So this gives you a better idea of how I use Elliott wave. Only in a trending environment do I use it. I run when it comes to corrections. I just move away from it completely. And it only is used in conjunction with A, technical analysis, B, fundamental analysis, and then C, I start moving towards indicators, oscillators, moving averages, Elliott wave, those type of things. So I hope this helps. I know, like I said, there's not a lot of love for Elliott wave necessarily on the site itself, but I do believe it's a useful tool if used in the correct manner. You guys have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye.